Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Drapers Connects. My name is Graham Moran, and I am the Associate Editor here at Drapers. Drapers Connects is our series of Q&A discussions, panel talks, and live webinars such as this. As well as our live webinars, you can access all our past archive of webinar recordings at drapersonline.com. There's a whole host of recordings there covering all sorts of topics from sustainability, digital commerce, and our most recent one was on returns and delivery, which was super interesting. So thank you all for joining us. Today, in partnership with Shopline, we'll be discussing how brands and retailers can best prepare your digital channels as we head into the festive rush and the golden quarter. Thank you to our panel for joining us too. Could you please introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you do? Stephen, you're top of my screen. Why don't we start with you?
Hi, everyone. My name's Stephen Wood. I'm CTO at ChiChi London. Is one of my jobs. I'm a general interim CTO, so I've got an extensive background in leading engineering firms and software development teams throughout my career. So happy to be here today.
Thank you, Stephen. Jack, you're next on my screen, so over to you.
Yeah, so I'm Jack Turner, so I'm the Senior Ecom Manager at In The Style. I've only been here 5 months so far, but working alongside the Shopline team, we're already making a lot of changes.
Excellent. Deepak, why don't you give us an introduction to yourself and also to Shopline?
Hi, everyone. Afternoon. My name is Deepak Anand. I'm the General Manager for Shopline. We are the leading e-commerce platform. We've been in the market for over 11 years. We have 600,000 brands. Some of the brands are Muji's, Hunter Boots, In The Style, ChiChi London. I'm super honored to be sitting and having a webinar in front of Stephen, who is actually an e-commerce evangelist and a tech enthusiast. And Jack, who knows how to run his online store. I mean, this is an amazing opportunity for me. And it took me a while to get these two people on board, but I'm super excited today.
Excellent. Thank you, Deepak. To our audience watching, if you are watching live, please feel free to send in any questions you have for our panel via the Q&A function, and we'll do our best to answer them throughout and at the end. As I said, today we're going to be talking about how best to prepare your digital channels for peak and some insight and advice on how to build the best performing website to delight your demanding customers. To start off, I thought I would ask our panel, set us a bit of context maybe. In this world of demanding consumers, rising expectations, the kind of short attention spans of the TikTok generation, what is a good website today? What attributes make up the best websites? Jack, why don't we start with you?
So I'd say it's fast. A website that's fast, intuitive, personalized, easy to navigate, but also showcasing your brand at the same time. It's important that the customer can easily shop the site in a way that works for them, whether that's through searching, that's through navigation, or just generally through the homepage. They don't want to be sat around waiting for pages to load or things being difficult to find. They just kind of want it there. But you also need to be explaining your brand and who you are and what you're about throughout that whole journey and just being consistent.
Definitely. Stephen, I saw you nodding. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think Jack's pulled out the key themes. And for me, a great website today, it has to be fast, it has to be intuitive, it has to be visually engaging. It must offer a seamless navigation, of course, mobile optimization we all talk about all the time, and personalized experiences. For me, high quality visuals, interactive elements that capture attention quickly, with a robust search and easy checkout to reduce friction. I also think that trust is a big issue. So integrating that social proof and ensuring your security builds trust is essential. So in a nutshell, I'd say it's about creating a user-centric design, putting the customer at the heart of everything, and make sure that meets the expectation, because today's shoppers are really impatient and very savvy, and they're very familiar with the landscape.
Definitely. sounds easy when you say it like that.
Yeah,
I'm sure as we'll discuss, it's not so easy. But definitely, I think that is the challenge. One thing we were talking about in preparing for this is that balance of you want to get everything right, but you also, as you said, Jack, as you both said, you really want your brand to stand out and to you know, also give everything that everyone's used to, but also be a bit different and a bit unique. And I think that's something we'll definitely uncover as we go through. Again, another piece of context setting. I mentioned the golden quarter, the festive rush, peak, all these terms that are kind of being thrown out across retail at this time of the year. Obviously, peak is important, but why is it so important? And when should businesses start preparing? Deepak, why don't we start with you?
Very, very important quarters for a lot of retailers. One of the key things, the question which you asked earlier on in terms of what exactly the customers are looking for. One of the key things which I think everyone mentioned about personalization, the most important one for me is the payment, right? You want to make sure that you provide payment options to the users. If you're actually an international brand, make sure that you have the right payment provider available in that country. And also, I mean, I spent a few years at PayPal. Thinking about this quarter was critical because people used to sell a lot of products on eBay and they used to generate a lot of PayPal balance that they can buy new products. So I think those are the things which are very, very critical, making sure that you provide right payment options to that consumer. It is very important. I mean, I would say that because I spent 15 years in retail and in commerce technologies, so I've never seen anyone not doing Black Friday. They can always talk about they have their own seasonalities. They can always have their own different promotions. But the Black Friday and Cyber Monday and 11/11, I mean, it's all those type of dates which are coming up. So why it is important is the time where people are thinking about what exactly is the festive season. They're planning their new year resolution, and also I think from a technology perspective, they really need to think about that. Do they have the right solution to serve to serve the customers, and also to think about that thing how exactly they plan for the future as well. So it's very critical because on the basis of this quarter, they define the future of their of the company, of the whether they will leave a legacy or whether they would be relevant in the next few years to come. So it's a very important quarter. I've seen a lot of changes happen in Q1 after the end of this quarter, and I hope I wish every single retailer best of luck because after the COVID, I think with the economy being delivered, stabilization is happening. So there people are spending money. This is what we have seen over the last in our kind of with the number of merchants we work with.
Thank you. Let's hope it is a particularly golden quarter this quarter. I wanted to ask the panel, obviously you both have lots of experience in the industry. Do you have a learning from last golden quarter specifically that you're bringing into this one? Did you learn anything that you'd like to share? Jack, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, I think people are just shopping earlier and earlier when it comes to peak. You used to start getting the peak trade starting in like late October, but that's now starting to see the strong sales even from September. We're also up with the challenge this year of Black Friday being a lot later than it previously is. So there's 5 days less between Black Friday and Christmas, which means there's 5 days less of kind of key full price sales in that kind of gifting period. So we're kind of taking that and just trying to start early. Like we've already started scaling for peak now. We started that task in August, just getting our kind of traffic levels up to a place where we need them to be and optimizing our ROAS to be at the right level.
Excellent, thank you. Stephen, what about you? You've seen a few golden quarters in your time. What did you learn last year, good or bad, that you could share with our audience?
I think Deepak and Jack have touched on it, which is linked to the payments and the peak trading period is around scalability. So it's really important that that you've got that scalability. We realised that our infrastructure at ChiChi needed to handle sudden traffic spikes, and I know at ITS in the style they have exactly the same with their launches. and you need to be able to do that without compromising performance. So you've got to invest in might be too late now, 20th of September, but if you haven't already, you need to invest in a scalable cloud solution, and stress test it beforehand, and that's where, if you're on a platform such as Shopline, they've done a lot of that work for you, so they take a lot of that stress away.
Yeah, I think on that point as well, the stress testing part, I think we're lucky in a sense that we do have quite a lot of drops throughout the year. And our traffic can spike massively. We can do £1,000,000 days in March and June. So, we kind of stress testing throughout the year, ready to peak anyway.
Yeah, I think that you kind of touched on what my next question was going to be. I know for in the style, you're doing like a drop a day during like this period, and that obviously puts a lot of stress on your website. And is that the biggest challenge for you, is just the traffic, or what other kind of headaches come with those spikes?
Yeah, for us, like we are used to having 2, 3 kind of big drops a week anyway. But yeah, like you said, when it comes to the Black Friday period, we're doing a drop a day, and there's a lot of planning that has to go into all our collection launches, making sure absolutely everything's right, ready for the day. Yeah, we do see them massive spikes again. But when we're seeing them spikes, we're getting the sales through the door. We then have to get all them orders out the door as well. So it's kind of a knock-on effect throughout the business. Right from the design and garment tech side, but all the way through then to the warehouse, getting them orders dispatched is a big piece of work for everyone involved.
Yeah, it's a good point, because everyone tends to think about, is the website going to handle the load? But, there's all the pre-work that's done in, let's say, preparing for Black Friday, the marketing team, the CRM team, getting extra warehouse staff in, dealing, unfortunately, with extra returns when they come in a few weeks later. So there's, everything goes up, doesn't it? So, and it's making sure that your team is ready and prepped and to handle that and supported.
And also, I think from a tech perspective, as we are working very closely with you guys, we just need to understand what exactly you're planning the promotion, so that, when you can talk about all the scalable solutions you have, but at the same time, it's better to be prepared than sorry, right? So it's better to know what exactly you're expecting, the volumes you're expecting, so that even from the cloud perspective, we can dynamically scale pretty fast. But still, it's good to know, and we are working very closely with all the retailers about this thing, especially on the fashion front, when they're planning their peaks and when they're planning their promotions, especially within the style, when they have this peaks for a couple of £1,000,000 a day. We know that there would be a team who is ready in case there is anything goes wrong. We could just be will just be there to support, right? I mean, the key one for me, Graham, is the tech vendor is vested in your success, or are you one number for them, right? I mean, that's actually one thing is very, very critical in this economy. And I've been a part of number of tech vendor side, but this is the organization where they actually focus on the growth of the merchant, our customers. And this is why we actually work with them. We are extended part of their team. And this is exactly Steve and Jack. They never answer my phone because I'll be asking questions on all the time. What exactly you're planning to do? Because I don't want to get a surprise. And we want to be an extended part of their workforce, so that we can support them whenever they need us.
Yeah, and that's why it's good having those weekly check-ins that we have with your guys, and the constant messages that your guys get through Slack off me as well. Yeah, like you say, they are just an extension of our team. Like that constant communication that we have, it just keeps us all aligned and makes things smooth for us all.
Brilliant.
When you have a couple of £1,000,000 days, you do need it to run smoothly, don't you?
Definitely.
In preparation for this session, we got together and kind of came up with a few ideas to answer that question, how best to prepare your website. And a lot of what came out is this isn't just for peak, it's in general. But particularly, we're obviously talking about peak today. And one that I wanted to discuss was around the idea of, I'm going to say it slowly, customer centricity, putting the customer at the center of everything that you do, making sure they're really at the core of your website and your operations, etc. But phrases like this, they are a slight retail cliche. What does customer centricity actually mean today? And how can you put the customer at the center of what you do? Deepak, as you said, you work with lots of different businesses, so I'm sure you have a view on this.
And I think I would rather have Steve and Jack to answer this question. But the way we look at it is that we actually work with the retailers and asking their top customers to come to a session, and then we actually ask them to work on our mobile app, which is working with kind of we are planning this thing with in the style as well. The top 10 customers come in a session, and we'll do that approach to understand what exactly they like, they don't like. Actually, our roadmap is defined by their end user, not by Jack and Steven. So because we want to understand that how they want to use the technology, rather than we think that they would love to use this technology in that way, right? So I think this is how we actually define our roadmap, not because we think that putting a logo on the right will make a difference. We just actually understand that one of the examples which was really good was because we are working with one of the retailers. And if you think about this, they used to be called a burger logo, which is like, I mean, it's still called the burger logo. I'm not in an e-commerce space.
Burger menu, yeah.
Burger menu, right? Like, so when you think about this, you open a the website on a mobile, and the burger menu is still on the top right. If my mobile is like that big of iPhone 16, which is like 2 meter long, how would I go and have used another phone and just go on the top? So I think we are working with the retailers to say the burger menu should be on the top bottom right, right? So that at least you can click and see all these things. There are small things which we're working on, and we just say, oh, that will make an impact. And we've seen by doing that, the conversion rate has gone up, right? So we are working really, really closely with these, with their end user, rather than, obviously we work very closely with Steven and Jack and all the retailers we work with, but the end user is critical for us so that we can improve the conversions for our merchants. I mean, Jack, please jump in.
Jack, why don't you tell us about your approach to putting the customer at the center of what you do?
Yeah, I think what Deepak was saying now, we're having the process at the minute of getting our customers in. We are getting the best customers in. We're also getting customers in who have placed an order once and not placed an order again, to figure out what we've done wrong and how we can improve that. And in terms of like in the style as a brand, but we've always prided ourselves on being for everybody. And what we mean by that is, we have a petite range, a curved range, a tall range, a core range, and that size is 6 up to 32, and that goes across most of our products, and which most of the retailers don't do. We're also incredibly good at speaking to our customers about the body shape and making it easy to find across the site. It is easy to find. You know if you're a curve, or if you're petite or tall or whatever, and you can easily navigate that through the site and find the products like that the right size for you.
Definitely, I think when we were talking about this, that's what really stood out to me about in the style, was that it kind of, you knew where to go for what you need, which I think is very smart. Stephen, how is ChiChi making sure their customers are at the center of their website?
Well, for me, the first thing you have to start with is away from the website. You have to look at it from a business point of view. So customer centricity isn't just about your website or your mobile app. It's about your business and what your go-to market proposition is. And this is something that we certainly did at my previous company, Equus, as well, where I was CTO and co-founder, as we made sure that we had a very clear view of who our target customer was, and in that, who our target customer wasn't. And we were quite bold and quite clear about people that we didn't want to shop on our site. I'd urge retailers to look for the niche within the niche. So where is it that you can double down and be more niche, and because you'll find that that's where you'll find those rich seams of gold, as it were. And so that's the first thing, is being clear about who your personas are, or your segments, or whatever marketing terminology you want to use, but who's your target customer. And there's lots of techniques out there you can use to sort of find those out and figure those out. And then when you come back down to the sort of day-to-day, the technology, your implementation, how you're going to implement that strategy. I mean, it's all the things that Deepak and Jack have talked about. I'd add to it leveraging data analytics, whether it's GA, or if you can work out GA4, it's a bit beyond me, but everyone seems to hate it, don't they? But you need to get into that and understand, how people are coming to your site, what pages they're spending their time on, how deep they're scrolling, where they're leaving, where they're clicking, and that requires some investment. You need to think about personalization then for those segments, how for those personas that you've identified, and then prioritizing user feedback. At Equus, we had I can't remember the name of the score, where it's usually the score of 0 to 9, and the 7 to 9 is it's people who are happy. There's is it NPD? Is it
NPS?
Yeah. So that capturing those sorts of metrics online, quite easy, quick and easy to do. Yeah, interviews, customer feedback groups, that kind of thing. But then taking on that feedback and using it to iterate your design, not just going, oh great, we got an 8, and just ignoring it, or we got a 1, oh that's probably just someone that was a one-off. You've got to really sort of find the root cause of those issues. And finally, providing excellent customer support. Making sure that you've got a seamless omnichannel experience that helps meet and exceed customer expectations. Because as we said at the start, customers, they've got infinite choice now. They can go anywhere, just in 2 clicks. They can be off your site and shopping with somebody else. So you need to be on the top of your game.
That perfectly segues into my next point, which I wanted to raise around loyalty and particularly loyalty schemes. Obviously, we know the point of loyalty schemes is to, as you mentioned, Stephen, to get people back onto your site, to keep them shopping with you. And I think we're seeing a real push of these at the moment, particularly from some of the big players on the high street. And I know Jack, for example, in the style, has recently launched their loyalty scheme. Could you tell us why you launched it, and how, and what impact you hope or think that's going to have?
Yeah, so yeah, we've soft launched it so far, kind of going a bit more aggressive with it over the next coming weeks. But for us, the paid search and Google is becoming more and more expensive. We just want our customers shopping more and more of us directly, and also more regular. So the loyalty scheme that we've gone live with is a point-based scheme. So what we're trying to do is reward. When you think about loyalty, it's always about rewarding the behaviour that you seek. So we want people to shop with us. So it starts off with a basic of you get points for every purchase that you place. We also get points for giving us data. So gives your email address, your phone numbers, those kind of things, so we can directly market towards you. And something that's a bit more unique you don't see as regular is we also do points for referring other customers. So you get points for sending a referral link to a friend. If they place an order, you get points back. So for us, that's building on kind of the influencer-led history we've always had, and now the customer can kind of be an influencer themselves. The tool we're using, it's come with our package with Shopline, so it's the inbuilt member system. So it's allowed us to just quickly go live with something. Do a few tests here and there, everything's all good, and it's just a case of switching it on, which has been really good for us. We have gone to Shopline looking for a pre-packaged solution, and it's really helped us be able to achieve the member system we wanted to.
Excellent. I think that is a really great example of you putting the customer at the center of what you do, because that a lot of the women that shop on your site will be sending links to their friends and saying, that's I think it'll be really interesting to see how that program grows. I think it will very well. Stephen, what is your view on loyalty schemes? Are you seeing a resurgence in them? Do you think they're important?
Yeah, they definitely are important. And of course, everyone's doing them, aren't they? So I think the temptation is to overcomplicate them. But my advice would be, just keep them really simple so that customers, we've all got enough going on, haven't we? Trying to understand so many different things, in our day-to-day lives. So your rewards program just needs to be really simple. It offers a meaningful incentive that will encourage the repeat business, but make it easy to understand, and transparent. What's a point worth? Be really clear and upfront about that, and then you can promote it with confidence, in my view.
Excellent. Another area I thought would be interesting to discuss, we're talking about, optimizing your online proposition for peak, is apps and, brand and retailers launching apps or having apps or driving people to use their app. I'm noticing that a lot more at the moment. Jack, could you tell us about In the Styles app approach?
Yeah, yeah. So it kind of feels it was kind of I guess the first stage of loyalty for the business. Before I even think about loyalty, they've always pushed to the app first. App has been 50% of sales for the business for a long time now. Collections launch on the app first. For us, having the app installed on people's phones, it takes a bit of real estate on their phones. So every time they're on the phone, they're seeing in the style, in the style, in the style. So it encourages that browser behavior, getting them to come and check what we've got and to browse through our site. Also means we can send push notifications to them. So it's opened up a free marketing channel. So we can do that in a personalized way with basic things like abandoned basket push notifications, but also target them based on how they've been shopping on site. So if we can encourage people to be going on the app more, we can start picking up those signals in terms of what they're interested in and be able to better market to them.
Amazing. That's incredible to think 50% of sales is on the app. So obviously they're important to you.
Yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot. Like in previous companies I worked for, 20% would be a good number, but yeah, 50% it is a lot. It is good for us.
Obviously, launching collections on there is one way, but what do you think it is that your shopper loves about your app?
I think it's because they feel represented on there, whether you are a petite or you're a curve or you're a tall or, you're in the larger size range or the smaller size range. We do have a size for everyone. And the influencers we use, they're relevant to the people that are shopping with us. So, we've got big names like Stacey Solomon, Perry Shine, these Jack Joss, well-known names that people feel a connection to. So then they regularly shop with our brand because they feel a connection to that influencer. That's created a collection.
Stephen, what's your opinion on apps?
Well, so if you haven't got one, I'd say don't stress about it. While apps can offer enhanced functionality and personalized experiences, I don't think they're essential for every brand or retailer. Controversial, but that's my opinion. It really does depend on your customer base and your business model. If you're a brand who's got a highly engaged audience, or if you're one of those who's looking to offer unique features like augmented reality try-ons or exclusive in-app deals, then maybe you should be thinking about an app. But for many, if you've just got a well-optimized mobile website, that will do the job. So don't be thinking, oh my gosh, I've got to get an app out before Christmas. I think it's that's my sort of devil's advocate take on it.
No, always good to hear.
Okay. Oh no, I was just saying, I think it's if you've got a repeat customer or you're wanting a repeat customer, I say the more it's more important. But if you're not that type of business, I don't know, if you're selling something like paint, for instance, there's probably not much point in having an app. But yeah, if you want a repeat customer, then I'd argue.
How many apps have you got on your phone? Do you use? You probably use WhatsApp.
Oh no, I do have a lot. You're right. I do have a lot that I don't use.
I think this is a very good point. I mean, as you can see, Graham, you really actually ask a question where we actually three of us would not even agree now. So I think the main question is all about that. From my perspective, is completely 100% agree with Steve that you don't need for every single brand, right? 100% agree with Jack that you need when you're talking about Stacey Solomon. I want to feel that I connect with Stacey Solomon. So I have an app so that I can get her dress at 7 p.m. on Sunday when Stacey is about to launch that, right? So I feel that significance when I do that. That VIP level of experience with In the Style provides for an app user is unbelievable, right? I mean, I don't want to be there are people who are actually being in the queue now to get iPhone 16, right? So that's the level of experience which In the Style provides for an app, right?
I couldn't get my Oasis tickets though.
If you had the app, maybe you would have.
I did have the app. I couldn't even get onto the app. It was just.
I think the reason was that because they were not using Shopline app, so
they were ready to scale.
I mean, I think the scalability didn't work for them. They didn't tell their tech provider this is going to happen. I mean, they were using another monolithic SaaS. No, just kidding. So I think this is where exactly our conversation happened with all the retailers. So we just signed with one of the the oldest heritage British pottery brand. And we just did discuss about the repeat customer. They don't get repeat customers for years, right? Because when you buy this pottery, right, and then the plate, and I mean, it's so sustainable, like it's there for forever. Like, so they don't need an app, but they need an engagement. How exactly they can have the level of engagement. But it also comes down to the demographic, Steve, isn't it? I mean, if you're like you're born Gen Zs and all those type of things. What are the words? I'm actually very old right now, so I just for me, I still pick up the phone. I'm dialing for dollars guy, right? So like, I don't know how many times I called Steve today just to say, instead of WhatsApp messages, to say, can you just answer my call? So I think it depends. If your demographic is 18 to 25 or 18 to 30, I think that would be right relevance, because they don't like to log on in the evening on your laptop and start ordering products. I mean, they want to be on app or otherwise PWA experience, which we do provide. I think it's a very we need to have a app. I mean, I think, Graham, we need to do a discussion of just a webinar just for the app, whether it is relevant or not. Because from my side, I think we need it, but where exactly I am in my age, I don't think so. I still order Amazon on the browser. I think that by mistake I might order it like using the Apple Pay. So I just go on the website and I just place the order there. So I think it's a topic for discussion for actually. But you can always discuss with Stephen and Jack on their LinkedIn and just reach out what's their advice on different levels, right? So
I think a lot of it could also be down to choice. You know, if you, like you say, Deepak, you have your preference, and if you can afford to do it, then giving them the choice. You know, you're not going to have an app and switch off the alternative. So I think definitely the Gen Z, as you mentioned, Deepak, is they like to shop how they like to shop, however it might be and wherever it might be. We'll come on to social commerce, but that's, you know, they're definitely shopping everywhere now. So maybe that's for our next webinar. We'll deep dive into apps. This kind of links to my next point, which you know, we've talked Gen Z particularly, but not even just Gen Z. Everyone is so well trained with super fast websites, and as soon as you have a slow load, you're clicking on something else. So what advice do the panel have in terms of making sure your site is super quick, super fast, but still has all those things we spoke about at the beginning? You know, we want to have beautiful, crisp imagery. Some brands and retailers even use video nowadays. I'm seeing that more and more. But how do you balance that with making sure it's quick enough to keep people's attention? Jack, do you have any advice on that?
Yeah, I think, yeah, like you say, it's definitely about balance. You know, you have to kind of get the image resolution good enough for the customer, but also, I guess, low enough that it's not affecting your site speed. I think for us, you know, there is an inbuilt tool in Shopline which tracks your site speed and provides a list of actions to help speed your site up. Like, image could be large, your largest content, I can never say this quite properly, but contentful paint was essentially the biggest thing to load, and it can kind of measure the time on that. But that having that score inbuilt in Shopline and having those actions there makes it very easy for us to be able to address any site speed issues. You know, it breaks it down in terms of, is it the product page, is it the home page, is it the collection pages? You know, it could be you just installed an amazing new app, which, you know, it's all this AI functionality, but it's a beast. You know, there's a massive piece of code behind it, and it's slowing down your site. Then that's when you have to start thinking about, you know, can we strip that down, or, you know, is it maybe not right for us? Yeah, or, you know, like I said, could you just put a new video up, which is a massive video, and, you know, you just need to shrink it down to, you know, 3 to 5 seconds or something to reduce that file size.
It's interesting you say, oh, it's slowing us down, so maybe it's not for us. Is it that important to you that you would be like, we'll get rid of that because speed is the most important thing?
I think to an extent, yeah. I think, you know, the site does need to load fast. It does need to, you know, people don't want to sit there and wait for 30 seconds for something to load. So yeah, you know, if there was a, you know, that was a made up example. You know, if there was a case of a tool like that, you know, I'd have some pretty big questions for whoever's coded it for it to be throwing the site out so much.
Stephen, how are you guys optimizing your site's speed? Lots of S's.
Well, it was a key consideration in our recent migration to Shopline from the other platform that shall not be named, but the was the fact that a lot of the app ecosystem is built into the Shopline product. So we found that with other a lot of other e-commerce tech solutions that they rely on this third-party ecosystem. Before you know it, you end up with 30, 40 apps on your store, and all they're doing is slowing your app, slowing your site down. So you've got to make sure you've got a good change control process that looks at those apps and any changes that you're making, the way you're putting in these third-party plugins and so on, that they're not causing any problems. But then, with Shopline, as Jack said, you've got the tool there to look at the site speed, the Google page speed insights, and then so keeping a handle on that so that they're not running away with it, but also making sure that do you really need those apps, because as Gabe on Shopline, you'll find that a lot of those features and the things that where you need a third-party plugin, you don't actually need them because they're actually built into the main product, so the site speed is good. So keep fewer third-party apps in a nutshell, I would say.
Stephen, I've got one question. Sorry, Graham, I'm taking it over from you. Is that what's your approach on the new tech called Mac? Headless and all those type of things. So because everyone is talking about when you are on headless, your site speed would be much better. Is that true? I mean, because your experience is that, but I personally don't think so. And for the retailer perspective, what's your take? I mean, why you didn't put ChiChi on headless and you took from headless away from headless to going back to the core?
Because again, I think if you with Shopline, you guys, it's your day-to-day job, isn't it? It's what you do. So I'd expect me to be able to just come on. Here's my product data. Here's you should be providing all that infrastructure for me, nice and fast. That's the whole purpose of the investment, isn't it? Otherwise, I may as well go and do my own and go back on prem and go back to the 1980s. So I was actually working in IT in maybe the late 80s, early 90s. But
no, thank you, Steve. Sorry, Graham. I just wanted to, because everyone was talking about you need to go headless and then you'll be lightning speed, but that's actually a lie. I mean, it's like if somebody would tell me that having 10 other your server is on a different sphere not on the SaaS technology and your speed would be much better, it's such a lie. And then they talk about the checkout experiences, all those type of things. It hurts me actually when they tell this story.
You've got to start managing your own resilience then as well. If the service is down and.
Absolutely, and then you're not PCI compliant at the same time, right? So in case you touch
you've got to watch out for that. Yeah, you got to think carefully.
Yeah. Sorry, Graham.
Another webinar, I think.
Yeah, we've got 3 more webinars planned after this one, guys. So we talked a lot about the site, the speed, loading, images, etc. One of the most important parts for me, particularly, is checkout. I hate putting my details in every time. And so I wanted to discuss how important is checkout, obviously very important, and how are you making sure that it's as fast as it can be, as seamless, as easy, as convenient. Who would like to start us on that? Stephen?
I would take it because this is such an important topic for me. I mean, in every single discussion I have with the retailer, they don't even think about the checkout. I mean, they think about that checkout needs to provide different payment options and all those stuff things, but they don't think about the checkout experience because it's like in some of the platform, you can't even touch the checkout, right? I mean, we can provide all the fully flexible checkout. The reason we provide fully flexible checkout is because of the way you check out in the UK versus the way they check out in Germany or the way they check out in France or other regions, right? Has a different UX experience, right? So we need to make sure that when we are an international brand, we need to give our retailers, our friends, and our customers the full flexibility so that they can customize based on the user experience, because that is very critical because it's the guest checkout, making sure that the app, Amazon Pay at the top, because you can have a quick checkout as well. I mean, there are so many things which you can do and which we can you can customize in Shopline. And we are not saying it's just work for Shopline because that's the biggest pain. And I think the retailers don't think about the checkout at all. They just think that payment option should be there, and then Google should be able to pick up the address, and that should solve the issue. But I think when they do that again, we talk about customer centricity, they will realize that how important that is, and most of the abandonment happened during that time. When somebody has added the product, go to the checkout and not checking out, there is a reason for that. And if you can just do the A/B testing, you'll see the conversion rate goes up. So that's my view, and I think this is critical for especially for the golden quarter you're talking about.
Yeah, we had a really interesting experience with that at Equus actually, which I'll tell you about. So we had in the checkout language, it said, please enter your credit card number, right? And we didn't even think about that. We didn't even know. Anyway, one day, this is in the very early days, we were sort of taking, one order a day or something like that. And so we were still taking phone calls for orders, and somebody rang up and said, "Oh, I'm on your site trying to check out, but I can't." And I said, "Oh, why is that?" And this lady said, "Well, I haven't got a credit card." And I said, "Well, oh, you can pay with it. Have you got a debit card?" She said, "Yeah, well, so you can use a debit card." She said, "Well, it says credit. It says it wants me to enter my credit card number." So we went into the settings, had a look, and sure enough, it changed. There it was. So we changed the wording to say, "Please enter your payment card details," and the conversion rate went up by, it doubled. So it's not, have a look at your checkout with a fresh pair of eyes. Get your do the grandmother test, or the auntie test or something, or somebody my age to look at it, or Deepak's age, who can go in and have a look and see what it looks like with a completely fresh. Because you see it time you get.
Is there any way of taking Stephen out of this webinar now? I mean, it's like we properly discussed, Stephen. We're not going to talk about the age in this webinar. When we're talking about the app, and you and
so many laws.
Are you still on Nokia 3310? Same as mine, right? So
yeah, so have a look at that. Seriously though, yeah, have a fresh pair of eyes, look at your checkout, the language. And then it's the basic things, isn't it? It has to be streamlined, it has to be user-friendly, it has to offer the Apple Wallet and Google Pay and Apple Pay and so on.
Yeah.
All the address and so on. Yeah, sorry, Jack.
Yeah, I think that's definitely very important now when you say Apple Pay and Google Pay. I'm someone that, like, if Apple Pay's not there, I won't be shopping. I'll be gone. I cannot be bothered to type in all my details and and go find my bank card wherever it is, because in real life I'll pay Apple Pay on my phone. I don't have my cards with me. I don't know where they are. When it comes to a website, you won't find me typing it all in. So yeah, I think having the right payment methods there, and appropriate for the markets as well. So if you're in more like a Southeast Asia part of the world, they focus more on wallets and kind of that transfer element, but it is definitely more like credit cards over, and the quick methods over Europe way.
Definitely. I think Stephen, you make a really good point. I was at a conference recently, and it's a very simple idea, but brand CEO said something that really stuck with me. That was, when was the last time you shopped on your website? When was the last time you actually checked if it works from you're looking at the back end and everything, but yeah, like simple things like just missing the wording really makes a difference. I'm going to skip ahead. Sorry for everyone that's prepared really well, because we've had a question from the audience around AI, which we were going to get to, but we are running slightly out of time. So just to address the audience question, there is a lot of talk about artificial intelligence, AI, at the moment, and whether it's actually something that we should be taking notice of, we should be investing in, we should be taking the time to explore. I know both the brands, the retailers on the panel are. So Jack, could you tell us how In the Style are exploring AI and kind of how that's helping with this topic of offering the best online experience?
Yeah. Every couple of years is like a new buzzword, isn't there? And AI is definitely that at the minute. Some people are definitely using AI for the sake of AI without it kind of adding value for the customer. In terms of how we're using it though, we're using it for product recommendations. We'll have a team of people sat there manually tagging products and saying, this product goes with that. So we have an AI tool built in with Shopline. But it powers all our product recommendations. It uses a mix of customer data and also as in the specific customer, but also what other customers are doing at the various parts of the journey, and then kind of shows them products which are relevant. So, it is as basic as, what people have viewed, but it can also be what people have bought together, and start to build that out as more of a bundle. We have a bundling tool as well, which is on every single PDP, which is actually really good. So it'll visually sees the product. It'll then try to match things which are visually similar. So, we sell a lot of co-ords. So, it might be a top and shorts. You're on the top. It'll show you the shorts. It'll then show you something which is slightly less relevant as it moves along the product. So, first you might see the exact matching shorts. Then you might see some shorts which are a similar color. You then might actually see a top which is a similar color, or a top from the same celebrity, but it's in a different colorway, or things like that. And it starts with the most relevant item, just so it moves along. We've seen that bringing in thousands of pounds extra for us each week. So it's been a really big win for us. Like I say, we'd never be able to have the team size to be able to do all that manually.
Excellent. Stephen, how is ChiChi using AI? Is ChiChi using AI?
Yeah. We're also looking at leveraging AI to personalization on the website, but we're also looking at exploring it for the back end for operational efficiency. So we're looking at machine learning algorithms that can help us look at purchase history to help us optimize our inventory management. I would say if you're getting into this area, have a look at also not just thinking about the website and the personalization options, but think about your back office, your replenishment, your inventory management. Is there any predictive analytics? Some of these tools are very good at that. Especially ChatGPT, some of the newer models that have recently come out where it can do more reasoning are very good at taking data and making sense of it and making predictions. So that's the sort of area that I'm interested in and that I'm looking at.
Deepak, did you want to say something? No?
I think they've answered the question.
Yep. Sorry, I thought you were going to say something. We've had another, I think it was inspired by Jack's comment about kind of international payments. We haven't covered international very much, and we had a question from the audience around this. Deepak, do you have any advice for brands that are looking internationally during the Golden Quarter?
Absolutely. I mean, the key here is that, first of all, you should not be under a tech debt that you can't go international. I mean, if you want to test the market, I just don't want to say that Shopline can easily do that, but it can easily do that. You can test the market, you can copy the entire content, copy the entire website, and launch in any other markets with an AI translator or human translator, whatever you want, right? So, and also we can provide multiple payment options. So I think internationalization is such a critical part, for the success. Obviously, with a lot of changes happened in the last few years because of the Brexit, most of the brands are just kind of worried about, like, do they want to go international, not international, how exactly they're going to manage the payments, taxes, and all those type of things. We also help a lot of retailers with our partnership with eShop World and all those type of the partners we work with. I think this is very, very critical. And also we're working with InTheStyle and ChiChi just to think about how exactly we will be able to launch them quickly in the international market. But we, as I said, our presence, we have 600,000 brands. One of the brands we recently launched in Asia was Hunter Boots. And they're live in a number of countries. And another one is Muji. They're also live in a number of countries, Hong Kong, Taiwan. So it says we really help retailers just to test the market. And also at the same time, we give them the flexibility to be more tactical rather than strategic. Because it's time, if you fail fast. Don't have to invest $2 million and thinking about, oh, it didn't work. I think you should not be under tech debt to think about internationalization.
I'd say from a customer point of view, be upfront with your deliveries, be really clear. The Royal Mail particularly have got very good deadlines on their website, usually about last postage dates. So be really clear, from an operational point of view with your international customers, make sure your emails are going out now to tell them when the last posting dates are, that kind of thing. Shopline provides great market support, so you can easily launch a store in the US or wherever, and it'll localize the currency and so on. But just make sure operationally you're lined up. That your warehouse staff, whoever's doing the packing the parcels, and your customer service team know what those dates are.
Great advice. One thing we haven't touched on that we are running out of time, but I definitely want to mention is um, social commerce, social media first, but social commerce second. Obviously, everyone is on social media now, and it is becoming more and more commercialized. TikTok Shop, Instagram Shop, etc. I wanted to know the panel's view on that. Maybe there's some different views, or maybe we're going to agree again. Stephen, what are your thoughts? How important is social commerce for your strategy, and do you have any advice around it?
Oh, for ChiChi London, it's critical. I mean, we're a fashion retailer, so we leverage it we've integrated our product catalogs with social media platforms, such as Instagram and Facebook. We actively engage with our audience daily, through interactive content, influencer partnerships, and we do targeted advertising as well to drive traffic. I think all of you in the audience, I think, will be familiar with all of that. Yeah, and we also look at social listening tools as well. So this is the other side of it, to monitor trends. It's not just always about the push, sometimes it's about the pull. So make sure that you've got those tools in place where you can be listening to what's being said about your brand or about the space that you're operating in, the keywords, that you need to monitor, which maybe not just be about managing your brand awareness, your brand management, but also about picking up trends and what people are interested in. That doesn't just boost sales, but it also helps you to strengthen your presence. And if you are getting mentioned or there are things that are on topic, so many things can flare up, can't they, on X quite quickly, and you do see brands jumping on them and trying to ride those waves. Then that can really help you drive that brand awareness. So think about the other side of the social commerce, i.e. the listening as well as the talking.
Great advice again. I knew this would be one we'd agree on. Jack, I want to get your opinion. I just had a quick look. In the Style is on 4 million Instagram followers. So you have an audience, a very engaged audience by the looks of it. Could you tell us how you're utilizing that to your advantage?
Yeah, so social has always been a big part of who we are, and it's where we've always communicated with our customer first, whether that's directly through our own channels or through the influencers that we use. So always been a social first. I think we'll always be a social first brand. It allows us to really connect with our customer. We can have real conversation. We do reply to customers that comment, so we can actually have that conversation with them and find out what they're actually thinking and what they like and what they don't like. If there's an issue, people are always first to jump on social, aren't they? So, things will crop up on there. It gives us an opportunity to react to that, to fix the issue, and hopefully turn the negative experience into a positive experience. And, I think one thing I always have to say on these things is, what TikTok is becoming a bigger thing in the market for everyone. And, last year we just gone live with TikTok Shop for Black Friday, and we ended up being the #2 brand on TikTok over that period, which is obviously a massive win for us.
Lots of opportunity, especially with 4 million followers.
Yeah.
We have another question from the audience. I think it's related to when we were talking earlier about Stephen, switching platform from maybe someone who may not be named. And, we're talking about all these tools and tech that you can use, and some people might not have access to them currently. Does anyone have any advice on when is the right time to sort of re-platform? Or obviously it's a big undertaking. Does anyone on the panel have any advice around that, how to do it efficiently and effectively, maybe?
Well, yeah.
Oh, Steve?
We've done, I think we've done about 15 so far, haven't we, Deepak, with different brands within our group, so including ChiChi London. Yeah, obviously you've got to, without teaching anyone to suck eggs, you obviously don't want to be thinking about doing it now. Well, you might do. It depends when your peak is. If you're online gardening, then your peak is probably April. So you need to think about when your peak is, and obviously plan it around that. And then preparation is key. Then is everything. It's then thinking about, okay, what's your source? Where are you coming from? Where are you going to? Is there a migration tool? So Shopline has some excellent migration tool which works with a number of platforms, not just the one that shall not be named, but many of the others. So and that for the ones that we've done has made it very easy. Shopline also have some partnerships with that can help do data migration. And then it's then having those key points in there. We normally have a working group, I don't like to use the word committee, should we say a working group, which will run it in a sort of scrum process, agile process to basically make sure that there's somebody in finance, somebody in logistics, warehousing, marketing, e-com, that there's a representative from each person. We'll do a side POC and pull out the processes and the systems, what the inputs and the outputs are on the customers, and then pull up a project plan from that. So we've done quite a few of these now. I have with Deepak and his team, and he's also got a good implementation team as well on site in London. So it's really a program management. There's also a change element to it. I mean, this again could be just a webinar itself, but yeah, think about your peak, and then make sure you've got a good program manager, someone that can pull it all together.
Great advice. Anyone want to add, Deepak? No? Oh, you're going to say something again, sorry.
I don't know, otherwise it would be a very biased one, right?
Yeah, I just echo what Stephen was saying. Avoid your peak. Go for the quietest time. You are going to have some disruption. Obviously, you the harder you work, the less disruption you'll have. But something a lot of businesses forget when they're migrating is looking after your SEO and making sure all the redirects and things in place from that. A lot of businesses make mistakes there.
Good point.
Good advice. Unfortunately, we are running out of time, so I'm going to wrap up with quite a big question, but we've covered a lot in this session. So Jack, let's start with you. If you could recommend, one change or one update, or out of all the things we've spoken about today, in prep for peak, what would that one thing be to kind of go away and try and sort now, or at least sort for next peak?
Yeah, I'd say look at the data you've got and the data that's coming through to whether that's the soft things like what people are clicking, what they're searching, the way they're navigating through the site, or whether it is the more hard data in terms of like the conversions. You'll use that kind of soft data you're getting now to start thinking about the actually going to take in the future. It could be as simple as you start to get searches for Black Friday. So do you set up a landing page where people can enter their email address and get updates when Black Friday comes around, or are you seeing a certain category start to get clicks, but you're not seeing the sales come through yet? Again, just looking at the data you have and start making them changes as soon as you can.
Great advice. Stephen, what one thing would you like to leave with our audience?
I would say you recommend prioritizing your mobile optimization. So, most of the shoppers today are using mobile devices. So make sure your website's fully responsive, it's fast, it's user-friendly, and it works on a phone. As Graham said, shop your own site on a mobile and see what it looks like. And that can really enhance. You'll find your conversion rates there will be a lot higher because people are mobile first these days.
Thank you. Deepak, do you want to close us out? What are your final remarks?
I think my final comment is if you want to meet Stephen and Jack in person and be relevant for the future, you should come to our Reimagine event on the 2nd of October. I think, Graham, you're going to send the invite. We're going to send you the link. If all the attendees will get as a VIP to meet one-to-one with Stephen and Jack on the 2nd of October, would be great. I mean, I think if they want to be relevant and if they want to leave a legacy, or if they want to be either you adapt or you'll not be there. So if you want to adapt, spend time with Stephen and Jack at Reimagine. Otherwise, we might not see them at the next webinar with Drapers then.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to Stephen, Jack, and Deepak. Thank you to our partner Shopline, and thank you all for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.